Welcome. Hello, everybody. This is Lisa Zimmer. I am so pleased to welcome you to the show, Unlimited Realities, today. It's a pretty heavy show. But we're gonna look at this topic that we're talking about, life and death, and a perspective of hope and faith and optimism and encouragement and inspiration in a way that maybe we haven't looked at it before, in a way that maybe we haven't felt it before. I have the very, very honorable privilege today of speaking with a man, Jack O'Ryan, a very humble soul, an extremely humble soul, and probably one of the greatest teachers that I've seen, honestly. I have talked to some incredible pioneers throughout my 30-plus years in metaphysics and spirituality and emotional awareness and intuition. And I've had a lot of shows that have choked me up and a lot of shows that rattled my anxiety in preparing for it. But this show, I'm not doing just a show to do a show anymore. I'm doing shows that move me. I'm doing shows that I feel would move my audience, would change maybe perspectives or give people a little additional glimpse to living life more enriched. And so I've been friends online with Jack O'Ryan for over 10 years. In fact, he and I became friends when I started my podcast. So for me to have my podcast for as long as I've known Jack and to have Jack on today is also very significant for me because he's a humble soul who has been diagnosed with a terminal illness, okay? And not only is he living with a terminal illness, but he is living life in such a way of love and joy and generosity and unconditionalism that is so very inspiring to me. I know it will be empowering and inspiring for you. And so without further ado, I will bring this very incredible man to gift you, the audience, with his insights and wisdoms and perspectives. But I haven't prepared for this show like I normally do. I usually read a book. I bring out my highlighter. I make some notes. I go through a few, spiral things with notes and questions. This is a wing it, man. This is a wing it. So we are just diving deep, digging deep, feeling deep, and without further ado, welcome, please, my guest, Jack O'Ryan. Jack, God bless you, and thank you for being on Unlimited Realities today. Welcome, welcome. Hello, Jack. Hello, Jack. For some reason, I do not have a connection.
Okay, there we go. You
hey,
got
Jack.
me now?
I got you now.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Okay, all of a sudden it goes muted. Yes, I go, oh my gosh, oh no.
I couldn't hear you, and I'm going with the buttons back and forth and going, what did I do? Because, undoubtedly it's my issue because I am not a tech whiz. I really, it's one of these nemesis issues I have to work through. So welcome, Jack O'Ryan. God bless you for being here. Thank you.
Thank you. I know you going, oh my gosh, mute, Mo, and you're saying, Jack, I'm here. Anyway, great way to start the show, huh?
Hey, no, it's all good. It's great because we've got all the time in the world. It's all good. It's all good.
Exactly.
So, Jack, like I was saying to the audience, we've online known each other for 10 years as mingled with similar people online. Spiritually evolved seekers. And so let's talk a little bit about the diagnosis and, how did you get to the doctor? Were you feeling ill? Was this something of a checkup? Let's go back a little bit and go into the first steps of this process for you with being diagnosed with a terminal illness?
Yeah, it goes back to November of 2019. Really, Lisa, is that I had a dissection, which is your aorta has 3 layers to it, and the first layer, my aorta, tore from my heart to my belly button. So so they put me on blood pressure medicine, and I was supposed to get CAT scans every 6 months. Well, then 6 months came, and then they did a CAT scan to look at my aorta to see how that was doing. Then they found the mass. So it really wasn't anything to do with the cancer that I went in there. It was for something else. Then they said, well, my goodness, there's a mass there, so we got to do a biopsy. And then they found the cancer. So it really wasn't going looking for the cancer. It was looking at the aorta, and that's how they found it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so were you feeling ill up to that point? Were you feeling like something was going on? Did you think it was just the heart? Did you think, was this something that was, obviously shocking?
Yeah. No, there was just pain in the side, but the thing is, it was so. I have kidney stones and all that type of thing too. So anyway, so it was around the area of the kidney stone, so I thought it was the kidney stone. And so it was kind of hidden amongst other pain. So then again, the mass, the CAT scan showed that. So yeah, it was just a pain there, but I thought it was something else.
Okay, so all right, so you're in there and you hear this diagnosis. How did you handle it? What was your first feel?
My wife said, I looked at her and I shrugged my shoulders like, what are you going to do? So that was my first,
wow.
So it's almost like it was, I don't know how I felt, Lisa, really, honestly. I think it was just kind of a blank, well, what are you going to do? I don't know, what are you going to do, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I know. I can feel that. It's kind of like this raw kind of, surrendering. And I'm sure your wife, if I was to ask her what she felt, I'm sure she could give me a whole lot of what she felt.
Yeah, right.
So, was this difficult to then process and then relate to family and friends? How did that next stage transpire for you?
Yeah, it's, as you can imagine, it's a blur, right? Process, I think sinking in and then going in for, because it didn't really start hitting more until I went in to talk to the doctor about, okay, what's the next step, right? So the next step is they told me that it's incurable, stage 4, and then they said, so I go, the next question, right, is, well, how much longer do I got? They said 6 months to a year. And that was in September. So it's been about 6 months now. So, anyway, so the process happened, and, I had to tell my kids and my family, and then we had a meeting, what was going to go on from there, and then talk to them. And, it was, as you can imagine, it's honestly, I can say it's like a tornado came in and just kind of blew everything up, and now putting the pieces back together.
Right. So now, you're in that place now where, the raw shock is kind of settled into an acceptance. And I think that's probably the hardest phase to go through, because there's a grief that, there's that 5 stages of grief that, we go through after someone passes, but we don't really talk about the 5 stages of grief that we go through when someone is in the process of dying, or, if someone is going through that. And a lot of that is gone through as you're making plans, and Jack, you're just such an inspiration, because you're dealing with the emotional components. You're dealing with everyone around you that you love, and they're processing. And whether they're saying it or not, you feel it. You know everyone's, going through their own stuff.
Yeah.
But in addition to this, you're inspiring a growing online community with a tremendous amount of authentic love and inspiration and empowerment, and you're planting a gosh darn garden.
Yeah,
which I love because,
oh my goodness.
because I'm gardening too, so I'm following along with
oh,
you.
beautiful.
But this is your essence. Your beautiful spirit is just such a welcome gift for all of us that I don't want you to ever think that this is, it's going to be so much more that, there's that pay it forward that you're doing that I think you'll realize you have within the moment. However, you're going to have effects beyond the moment, that paying it forward, that effect of reflection, that effect of grandiose spirit and generosity that you're gifting all of us with, and the insights and the depths and the awarenesses that are coming through as well. God bless you and your wife, and this isn't just your journey, this is hers as well. This is something that I'm sure is a processing that she shares, as well as is very private about her own processing as well. There's this piece for me. I've spoken with people who have lost loved ones and spouses specifically, and one man comes to mind. And 2 years after losing his wife, he was still really, really very stuck in his grief and unable to even, feel his way to move on, and admitted openly that he didn't know if he would ever, be able to fully move on. So in going into that aspect, I would ask you, you're so generous of heart. What would you want and ask for your loved ones, for your wife, for your children in your passing? How would you want them to, move on in regard to honoring such a grand man that you are?
Well, we'll go back just a little bit, is that spirituality, growth in spirituality is really important to me. And my wife, when this first hit, she was, still seeking to find her spot with her spiritual walk. And since then, she has really blossomed. I mean, really, really blossomed before my eyes with her own spirituality and her own walk. And that's what's happened since the diagnosis. She's really sought within her feelings of God and her feelings of, that whole area. So she's doing exactly what I want my family and friends to do, is to continue to deepen their spiritual walk, because that's the only way it's getting me through this is my belief, my faith, and belief in people and spirituality. And that's what my biggest thing is continue to find your path that works for you, and that will carry you on, because this is not the end. This is just the beginning, in my opinion.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. This is just one little pit stop, And
yep,
so,
exactly.
In moving into that piece, I trust you believe in an afterlife.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Okay. So let me share a story with you that I found very inspiring. A gentleman online through Facebook years ago shared something with me. He was a traveler, traveled throughout the United States, and came upon Hopi Indians, women in the desert, just, praising and singing and hallelujah. Well, they're hallelujah-ing. And
right.
and just tremendous, exchange of energy and power and love and rejoicing. And in his inquiry, he found out that they were conversing in spirit with the afterlife, and that they were so joyous, so much in celebration and joyousness and happiness for when their time comes to rejoin those